Good morning and welcome to Roches Sunday News. My name is Fernanda Doria and coming up we have Expatriation, an American in Japan. As you can see, the clouds are coming in from Krantz, putting a blanket over Blush. However, this does not stop us from having the opportunity to conduct interviews with 3 special guests offering different perspectives on the issue of expatriation. Back into the studio now, where I'll begin to discuss the topic in question. A major American global manufacturing company launched a new filter system for the chemical industry, which became globally successful apart from the Japanese market. In order to boost their sales in Japan, the company decided to send Bob, a hard-working junior manager, to their subsidiary company. He was to embark on a 3-year program which would have advanced him up the career ladder. However, due to inconsistencies and cultural differences, the assignment was short-lived and we shall find out why right now. So, welcoming Bob, coming all the way from the US. So Bob, I'm going to ask you a few questions. What were the strengths for you in this situation?
Well, for me, the company was very helpful in the organisation process, including my lodging, visas and journey. They also covered the costs for everything. This opportunity was to guarantee me with a new managerial position upon my return, even though whilst I was in Japan I actually received a higher salary than back in the US.
Oh wow, higher salary. Well, were there any weaknesses for you?
I did not have time to take the 3-week training program before going to Japan because I had work obligations at the time. Because of this, I feel like I wasn't prepared sufficiently enough and I faced cultural conflicts.
Oh, that's a shame. That is true. The American culture is very different from the Japanese culture. But what opportunities did you gain during this experience?
I gained professional experience overseas and I entered the company's international high potential development program. The point of me going out to Japan was to break the market by offering consumers better products for lower prices.
Oh, that sounds interesting. Did you face any threats?
Honestly, I was very confused by the Japanese culture as I found the language too difficult to learn and their business values differed hugely from that of the US. Even when I returned to the US, I found that I was demoted, which ruined my motivation, and my supervisors didn't show sufficient understanding for the problems I faced in Japan.
Oh, I can see how your motivation decreased. Thinking back, would you have any recommendations for yourself?
I should have persevered with the language and strived to understand the culture more. I should have communicated more with Mr. Hayashi, but due to personal problems that I faced, I was not able to notice my mistakes.
Yes, this would have given you a better understanding of the culture, and language skills could have helped you to build a friendship with Mr. Hayashi.
Yeah, it would have been preferable, but as I said, Japanese is very complex and extremely time-consuming.
Well, thank you, Bob, for your time.
No worries, I've enjoyed it.
And now I present to you the manager of the company, Mike Jones. Welcome, Mike.
Good afternoon.
So, I'm going to ask you a few questions. After having speaking to Bob, I have a background of the situation. So tell me, were there any strengths for the company?
Well, yes, indeed. After deciding to send Bob on his mission, we had high hopes that he will complete the program to advance a higher position for himself and to increase the company's sales and reputation.
Well, that sounds fair. Were there any weaknesses for the company?
Well, yes, let me tell. Due to the fact that Bob did not fully acquire with the Japanese culture, it created a misunderstanding between him and the Japanese colleagues. Also, this program incurred extremely high costs for the company and the organization.
Oh, I can imagine so. Did this assignment represent opportunities for the company?
Well, by interchanging employees overseas, it would enable the company to improve the globalization and would allow them to understand the target market, preferences, and the needs of the customers. Thank you.
Of course, this sounds realistic. As a company, did you face any threats?
Yes, well, we did, as Bob and our Japanese subsidiary didn't seem to connect well. This caused a loss of investment for the company, as well as an employee who went after all to work for a competitive company.
That must have been extremely infuriating. Well, would you recommend anything different for that situation?
Well, let me tell you, to be honest, we should have maybe shown more support for Bob to ensure that he was able to build professional relationship with the Japanese subsidiaries. Instead of this, we focused entirely on the lack of increasing sales in Japan. This was maybe one of our mistakes.
Well, thank you very much, Mike, for your time.
Thank you, it's my pleasure.
Now I present to you Mr. Hashimi. Hello, hello. So, I've spoken with Bob and Mike, and now I'd like to ask you a few questions. So firstly, did this situation present any strengths for yourselves in Japan?
Well, we are aware that the expatriates represent qualified assets for the company. However, we tend to rely more on the American employees that are already settled in Japan for a long time, as they're actually familiar with our culture and above all the language.
Of course, this would be logical. Did it present you with specific weaknesses?
Well, the cultural difference is a very important aspect in the business industry, and so the expatriates encounter various obstacles in terms of integrating in the culture and communicating within the company or with our partners. We call them tourists. It is moreover a pity and rather unfair to us, the foreign subsidiaries, that we are not eligible for such programs.
I understand. Do you think there were any opportunities for this assignment?
Implemented efficiently, such cultural exchanges help us gain new insights as well as the company goes more global, and so our partners trust us more, and so do they with our products.
Yes, I agree. How about threats?
Well, we do feel that we're investing time in employees that will shortly leave the company either way. We do not really believe that they appreciate the efforts that the company does to support such programs.
Would you offer any recommendations for this program?
Well, we're willing to give more support to the expatriates as long as they are equally willing to get more involved in learning our culture and our language. They should also understand that successful business in Japan implies a different process and different principles.
Of course, this is understandable. Had Bob been able to blend his ideas with yours to integrate the knowledge on the products, it could have been beneficial for you.
It could have. However, this is a long-term process and the results are not obvious immediately.
Well, thank you very much for your time, Ms. Hashimi. Thank you. Thank you to our three guests this morning. In my opinion, such sudden cultural and environmental changes can be rather difficult to adapt to. Therefore, the employees should have been more open-minded to the Japanese culture. The employer should have been more supportive and initially allowed the training that was required. Thank you very much for tuning in to watch the Roches Sunday News. Hope to see you next Sunday and enjoy your week.